Just a little heads up, if I seem a little scattered with my thoughts or some things don't sound coherent, I'm basically going scriptless. I'm just reading off of bullet points I have in a notebook that's in my hands because I'm wanting to test some things because I really don't feel like writing a big old script, so I want to see how writing little bullet points would work. On December 24th, 2025, Sonic Racing Cross Worlds received an update in which the game gave players a free crossover character named NiGHTS. And okay, I've been familiar with NiGHTS for as long as I've been playing Sonic games because Sonic Adventure 1 had the stage Casinopolis in which you got to choose between one of two pinball games. One of them was a Sonic-themed slots pinball game, and the other one was a matching game that had nothing to do with Sonic, but it had an interesting character in it, and Pinball Nights. You know, there's the Pinball Nights table. You know, I only really used it so I could get into the sewers faster, because it was just faster to get into the sewer through the Nights pinball game rather than the Sonic pinball game. But I've always found this pinball game intriguing because it wasn't from Sonic. And I remember somewhat vividly giving the actual pinball game itself a try, and then there was a part in the second half of the pinball game where this purple flying thing was following Sonic around, and I was a little freaked out by it because it's like flying, doing ballerina moves. It was a little weird. But I also couldn't help myself but to be a little intrigued by it. I never bothered to look into it. Outside of Sonic Adventure 2, I played a lot of Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed, in which there was a car. NiGHTS was a car. What is that thing driving it? I'm avoiding that. I never really cared to look into NiGHTS. And the funny thing is, there's a Sonic fan game called Sonic Robo Blast 2 that I love to death. And its special stages are styled after Nights into Dreams. And I think the special stages are fun. But again, for some reason, I never really bothered looking into the game until recently. And the reason why, it's going to sound really strange, but hear me out on this. So when they released NiGHTS into Sonic Racing Cross Worlds, Cross Worlds has this feature that, well, not really feature, but has this thing where, depending on your placement, you will get different music for the result screen, which it's very subtle. It's just more energy the higher up you're ranked. But with NiGHTS, it was very obvious because they had like 4 distinct tracks playing depending on your placement. And the first place song, you just listen.
Finish! Excellent!
I was blown away. Like, what do you mean, like, this very 90s sounding, like, this very 90s pop sound song was from this Sega Saturn game? I mean, I know, like, Sonic R had, you know, again, like, that 90s pop, but I didn't really expect it out of anything else. So I got intrigued, and I played Nights into Dreams, the Sega Saturn version, for the first time. So, okay, so what exactly is NiGHTS? Well, I don't know how to describe it. Because if you look here, this doesn't really look like anything in particular. Its identity is its own. Really what you do in this game is you fly around stages, you collect 20 blue chips, and you destroy an Idea. Well, according to Journey of Dreams, it's pronounced Idea, but I thought it was Idea up until I played a little bit of Journey of Dreams, but that's a separate video. Maybe, depending on how this one does. So, yeah, you destroy Idea capsules after collecting 20 blue chips, and I don't know! I genuinely don't know, like, how to describe this game other than, like, a score attack kind of game. Okay, we talked about the game. Let's talk about the plot. Plot. Okay, here's the best way to describe the plot. This game follows two children, Elliot Edwards and Clarice Sinclair. The Nightmarens are trying to steal these children's Ideas. They go to Nightopia, and they meet knights, and they stop the nightmares. Hooray. Okay, whatever. Plot is not really relevant in this game. The whole point of the game is to get a C rank or higher to just beat the game. It sounds simple, and to be honest, its gameplay is very simple, but it's one of those games that are very hard to master. And honestly, I love these kinds of games. So I'm locked in. I'm ready for this game. Now, as you can tell from the title of the video, there is no other game like NiGHTS. Why is that? Well, like I said before, it's score attack, so it feels more like an at-home arcade game rather than your typical console game of the 90s, because the whole point of the game is to really just get high scores. And, you know, that's kind of a lost art. As stated previously, the story for this game is kind of vague. You kind of just have to infer what's going on rather than the game kind of spill it out to you and explain every little minute detail. Like its sequel, Journey of Dreams. Again, Journey of Dreams is a separate video if this one does well. This game is also extremely short. There's only technically seven levels, so you can really beat this game in a little over an hour. This recording right here that I have is a little over an hour and a half. This game also has a lot of firsts. Number one, and this is something that's kind of big, is the fact that this game has an adaptable OST. The soundtrack of the game changes depending on how you interact with the world, which I will get to later. This game also has something called an A-Life system. Now, if you've played Sonic Adventure 1 or Sonic Adventure 2, you might remember the Chow Gardens. Fun fact, the Chow are lifted from Nights into Dreams, and in fact, I will get to that later on in the video when I talk about the fun little details about this game. Another big thing, and this is kind of important to just me as a person, is a non-binary protagonist. NiGHTS wasn't designed with a specific gender in mind. NiGHTS is simply themselves. NiGHTS. They are whatever you perceive them to be. And you know what? Hell yeah, that's based, especially for the 90s. This game is woke. Woke alert! Woke alert! The game. So, how we're going to go about this is that we're going to play through each of the children's dreams separately. So I'm going to start with Clarice's dreams, play through all of those, and then play through Elliot's dreams and talk about those, because both sides of the game are surprisingly different from each other, and I will explain that later. So let's start with Clarice, or the way I perceived it is Clarice is the more simpler, the simpler of the two stories, because I see it as the introductory to the game. So let's start with Dream Valley. Or Spring Valley. I wrote Spring Valley down in my notebook, so it might be Spring Valley. Future me, put it up here on the screen. Yes, this is the stage! Anyway, this is Claris's opening stage, which means it's going to be easy. The whole point of the stage is to teach you the different gimmicks and controls of the game if you didn't read the manual, like me, because I don't have a physical copy. This is an emulator. I'm doing something. I'm emulation. You know, I forgot what I was saying. Oh, I remember. The first track, or as the game calls them, Mares, gives you these simple controls. The first track of the game teaches you the basic controls. You fly around. You can do a little loop, and then that little loop attracts everything within itself. And then you collect everything in that loop. You can also do multiple laps. Okay, you know that's simple. You do that. You get a good rank. You move on to the next track, which then this track kind of teaches you how the environment can play into effect of the gameplay. Because you know you go over here like, oh, this rock, it's blocking some blue chips, but there are blue chips there because you see the one right there. There's just the one. Go grab it, and then you grab it and then fly up the mountain. This track also teaches you exploration because up in this, tucked away in this little corner right here is a blue chip cage. Now this cage is has a small handful of blue chips that, you know, add to your total collection of blue chips. It's very self-explanatory. I didn't need to explain that, but I did. I explained it. You destroy the Yeti capsule, and then you get to, you know, do more laps around until you get yourself a satisfactory rank, or you feel like you're running out of time. Now the third track of the stage introduces the trick ribbon. Now my first playthrough, and I don't have any footage of it, but I had no idea what this little yellow trail was that was following behind Knights. I thought it was gonna be like Sonic Rebel Blast 2's Super Paraloop, but it's not. I found out it's a trick ribbon because I found out when you press the triggers on the controller, because I'm using the Xbox controller. When you press the triggers, whatever the Sega Saturn equivalent is, Knights does tricks, and you can chain tricks together to get a better score. I think the highest I got was like 9. Future me, put that clip right there where I hit that amazing 9. Yeah, look at that. I'm so good at this game. I'm not. I'm lying, by the way. I'm no professional. I just really like this game, and I just picked up on its gimmicks very quickly. Okay, and then after that, you get the fourth track, which just kind of puts them all together. You get all the little gimmicks that the game teaches you with the first 3 tracks. You mush them together. And once you get good ranks on all of them, or ranks that you're satisfied with, you then go and fight a boss. Spring Valley's boss is Gilwing. Now, obviously, because he is the first boss, obviously it's gonna be the most simple one. All you gotta do is behead him like 10 times over or something. Number on screen! And once you defeat Gilwing, you will get a score bonus based on how fast you defeated it. And you can get up to double your original score going into the boss fight, which is really neat. I haven't done that yet, but that's really neat. With Spring Valley out of the way, we're now going to be thrown into the real world like a bird from the nest. You know, sometimes you might splat, you might fly. We're going to fly.
You suck!
Welcome to Mystic Forest. This is where the game starts to show its age. The stage is a little janky, I'm not gonna lie. You'll see, like, background elements of other tracks, and they're a little distracting. I'm gonna be real with you, they're a little distracting, because then you on the first playthrough, you'll think, oh, there's something over there. I need to find a way to get over there. Is it in this lap? I don't know. Is it in this track? I don't know. I think it is, because if I can see it, it should be on this track. It's not. It'll be introduced in a later track. But for someone who is not familiar with this game, it can be a little distracting. It was distracting for me on my first playthrough. Let me walk back a little bit. This stage does introduce a new gimmick. These little Link score ball things. I don't know the technical term for this. I actually don't know the technical term for any of these. So to any really passionate NiGHTS fans who knows everything about the game better than me, please comment down below what you think, what you know this thing is, because you may know this game better than me. I don't know. I'm trying. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent again. This stage was hard for me to keep links, and I think it's because of the camera. This stage has the camera move around a lot, like a lot. Here's some examples right here where I got really thrown off, and sometimes it's hard for me to keep those links when all of a sudden, oh, you're making a turn now. I wasn't expecting this turn, but outside of that, the stage is fine. It's passable. It's a little annoying. It's a little janky, but it's fine. There's a worse stage later down the game. It's awful. At least in my opinion, it's awful. I really don't like it at all. The third track of the stage introduces these little switches, and sometimes these switches will give you little goodies. They will in this stage, for example, the switch is open this little box, and you get to go inside and you collect a bunch of yellow chips, golden chips, yellow chips, I don't know. Then you get good score. There's also a trick ribbon in here. Hooray, more score. Yes, give me big numbers. Big numbers. I love big numbers so much. It makes shapes and colors. My ADHD loves the big numbers. Then the fourth track of the stage also introduces a perspective shift from, instead of it being from left to right, now it's a top-down flyer. Wowie! Wowie! Wow, look at perspective change. Remember, this is a 3D game. 3D technology is new, so here's a top-down view. Okay, so you did all that. By this point, you probably understand the name of the game. Let's go fight a boss. This boss's name is Gulpo. I'm not making that up. That sounds like something somebody in Tumblr of like 2018 would name their fish. Like, here's my little Gulpo. I don't mean to offend any Tumblr users. You guys are great. You guys are funny. You guys are half the reason why my humor is the way it is. Love you guys. Anyway, Gulpo. Gulpo will have these little red fish launcher things on the side of the stage, and you use them to launch yourself at Gulpo. What an idiot! He just gave us a free get out of jail free card. Just hit him over and over. It's honestly, I think it's the easiest boss in the game. I mean, look. Gulpo just stops in his tracks just so he can get hit. I mean, is he stupid? Is he stupid? Is he stupid? He's also got my favorite boss track. It Lies Deep. Ooh, it's so good. Listen. Okay, now that we've exploded the fish, it is now time for Soft Museum. Let's see. The first note I have in my notebook is bouncy. Okay, I'm actually really impressed with the technology of this stage because, as you see, as soon as Claris spawns in, the land, the environment around her kind of morphs. For 90s technology, that's actually really impressive. I don't even see that a whole lot now with a lot of like AAA games in the year of 2026. That's insane. That shit's crazy. That's cool as hell. This stage also has a very fun bouncing gimmick. Which it's fun once you understand it. I didn't. You'll see me fumble really bad on the second track right here. You can see like literally the moment it clicked for me that I'm supposed to keep bouncing and not drill dash out of a bounce. Track 3 introduces another new gimmick that, you know, because every stage's got to have a gimmick. This gimmick is a from behind point of view. I don't like it. It's kind of hard to judge for me. That's also just because I have really bad depth perception, but it's kind of hard for me to judge where exactly I need to be. The controls just don't really feel right. It looks cool. It just doesn't feel right. And then the fourth. Did I say that? That was the from behind is actually the second. No, wait. Hey, future me, cut all of this out and just edit my mistake. The fourth track introduces this little mirror gimmick on top of the bouncing that you were introduced to in the second track. It's fun. This is actually my favorite stage in the game. Something about it tickles my brain. The music tickles my brain. The way the stage warps tickles my brain. The bouncing tickles my brain. Everything about it is tickling in my brain cells. Whatever few I have left, it's so good. And then you know, after all that peak, we have Jackal. This is my least favorite boss, simply because I really think this bullshit where he throws cards at you, you gotta react fast. I don't have the best reaction times. It took me a couple of tries to beat this boss, because he'll like fly away from you, because you gotta catch up to him and you gotta be able to hit him and then keep him from getting his mantle back. Which on one hand you can chain attacks back to back to back, or you can just like send him flying straight to his mantle if you're stupid, like me. Sometimes I did that on a couple of playthroughs. I'm not calling my audience stupid, I promise. You guys aren't stupid. You guys are smart. You guys are very smart. Well, with that being said, after you defeat Jackal, this is technically Claris's last stage, because Twin Seeds is... I'm making a separate segment for Twin Seeds. So we're going to be going straight to Elliot's Dreams. Okay, so Elliot's opening stage is Splash Garden. It's very similar to Dream Valley, except we now have new gimmicks exclusive to Elliot's Dreams, which are transformations. Oh, hey, what the fuck? That glitch was a new one for this playthrough. I'm not entirely sure. I think they're called transformations. Like whenever Knight flies into these floating balls of water, you'll see a little mermaid tail, mermaid Knights. Unfortunately, if you're in these watery balls, you can't change direction. I mean, look at this clip right here of me bouncing around like a dumbass. It's a little annoying, but that's just because I quite frankly was just playing a little stupid. Anyway, we had some gimmicks from Claris's Dreams introduced here. You know, like some switches, this fun little from behind point of view, you know, the usual. Once you complete this dream though, then you get to fight Puffy, which Okay, the bosses for Elliot are also very gimmick heavy too. You don't sit there and attack Puffy like you did in Claris's Dreams, where you could just hit, or some points even chain hits onto bosses. You kind of had to play their gimmick. So Puffy's gimmick here is that she bounces around, and you gotta bounce her through this track to where she eventually gets crushed by, I believe that's a painting. Now that we moved on from Splash Garden, now let's go to Frozen Bell. This stage is a little tedious because it is very lap heavy. It's good for memorizing those. If you're gonna want to memorize in this game, if it's not clear enough already, you need to memorize these track layouts. And this stage kind of hammers that down in a way. More camera jank. The camera in the stage behaves really weirdly sometimes. It's not even a little. It's very nauseating. I mean, watching this back, I was like, okay, I can't keep watching this. Let me just finish writing my notes down. There's also this little ladder spin gimmick, you know, whatever. We got track 4 is a sled transformation. I don't even think they're swapping out models here. I'm looking at this animation. This is either like some of the smoothest animation transition I've seen from a 90s video game, or they're just literally warping NiGHTS' model to make them look like a sled. And if that's the case, that's kind of funny as hell. I should try that with my own animation sometime. But I outside of the kind of funny animation transformation, I actually really don't like the sled all that much. Have you ever played Sonic 2? Remember the special stages? You know, the half pipe. Yeah, that's kind of what this feels like. And I don't like the half pipe special stages. Not one bit. The boss. Claws. Okay, this one. Claws I didn't understand on my first playthrough. In fact, I was actually stuck here for a little bit because I didn't understand what to do. The whole point of this boss is to destroy the rockets that Claws is on until there's only the like 1 or 2 rockets left, in which you can just kind of bap them and they make this really funny sound. Once you understand how this boss works, it's also up there with like Gulpo in terms of difficulty. It's actually a really easy boss. Okay, so remember how I said that there was a really annoying stage that wasn't Mystic Forest? Stick Canyon. The first note I have here just says, oh god. Stick Canyon is very gimmick heavy, especially compared to Elliot's last 2 stages. Because we have, like, this first track introduces these gravity magnet traps. Okay. The second lap introduces these rails where you kind of splat onto a metal plate, and then you have to kind of like swing the metal plate around to collect blue and yellow chips. I have an issue with this rail gimmick because it's unskippable, and it really fucked me over on the final track. Speaking of the final track, missiles. There's these little sirens, and if you fly wherever these sirens are, woo! boom, and then you lose time. In which, here's the thing, if you run out of time in this game, Knights goes back to the Idia Palace where you met them, and you transform back into whichever kid you were playing as, and I got an F on this stage, because Elliot just kind of, after the rail segment, it should piss me off so much. I really dislike this stage. But I had to do it a second time because I didn't get an A rank at the end of it. And I want an A rank. I wanted to A rank this whole game for this playthrough. I could very easily lie and say, oh, look at me, I use save states. No, I wasn't going to use a save state for this. Outside of all of that shit, we have a really, really fun boss. Riala. Oh, I love Riala. I love Riala so much. This, first of all, this is another simple boss, because Riala only takes 3 hits. You gotta pair loop him 3 times. And he can pair loop you too, and you can go flying too. Not that you're already flying, but you can go flying in a direction that you don't want to be in. But, okay, why I love this fight so much is that I love, like, doppelganger fights. Like, think Metal Sonic from Sonic CD, or the Marauders from Doom Eternal. I love doppelganger fights so much. These are my favorites. Oh, and I'm so glad that NiGHTS has one. Okay, now that we've sent Riala back from whence he came, it's time to talk about Twin Seeds. Now, Twin Seeds is the final level for both Claris and Elliot. It is a shared dream. Now, this game starts off with, oh, I gotta go duelize with Nope. You're going to this little floating island right here. There's really only one thing for you to do. And you gotta jump off. Because now the children are flying without Knights. Because you're not playing as Knights, you can't paraloop. So all of the kind of blue chips just kind of attract towards the kids. And it's also not track based. You know, you would do a bunch of little laps. No, this is a race against the clock. So once you collect 20 chips, you move straight on to the next track. And then do that 4 times over. And then they meet each other for the first time, and both of them free Knights. Now, Knights dualizes with both of them, and now there's 2 of them. Oh god, there's 2 of them. And now you fight Wiseman the Wicked. This is probably like the easiest final boss I've ever played in a video game. All you gotta do is really like dodge these very, very easy attacks. And you have to have both Knights attack at the same time in order to deal damage towards Wiseman. I'm gonna be so real. This was also just like very anticlimactic of a boss, in my opinion. It reminds me of the Time Eater from Sonic Generations, and I had that epiphany while playing for this specific video. I remember thinking to myself, wait, I wonder if the Time Eater boss fight from Sonic Generations was inspired by, like, Wiseman the Wicked. I don't know. Somebody confirm or deny that for me in the comments below. Now that Wiseman has been defeated, both kids wake up and achieve their dreams that they were so afraid of. Claire gets her role in a musical, and Elliot dunks. And then they meet each other at Clarice's musical. Get the hell out of the aisle. That's like, first of all, you're late to the show, and now you're standing. You open the doors. They're probably loud as hell. If you probably distracted everyone, and now you're standing in the middle of the aisle, staring this girl down that you've only met in your dreams. I don't know. The game's over. Yippee! Now that the game's over, I want to take time to just talk about the random little things that I noticed about this game. And the first one I actually want to tackle is the boss order. I don't think some of these bosses really align with the stage that they represent, that they are not really represent, but the stage that they cap off. Except Gilwing. I think Gilwing is fine as it is. But here is my order for how I would have done the bosses. Number 1 with Spring Valley is Gilwing. That's kind of a given. Number 2 for Mystic Forest, I would have done Claws, just because Animal, Forest. You see where I'm coming from. Number 3, Soft Museum. Puffy. This was the boss that made me realize, hey, maybe these bosses aren't really in order, because Soft Museum's whole gimmick was bouncy. Everything is bouncy. Puffy is bouncy. You bounce her to her death. I just think it makes sense. It just works. Splash Garden. I would have put Gulpo here. He's an easy boss. And Water. Splash Garden. Gulpo. Water. It just makes sense. Frozen Bell. I actually would have put Riala here. I know Riala is supposed to be like the boss before the final boss, but I want you to listen to this little bit of Frozen Bell. And now, listen to this little bit of Knights and Riala. I don't know if I'm crazy, but this sounds like the same motif to me. And then that just leaves Stick Canyon with Jackal. They're annoying. I hate them both. Then we have another mystery that this YouTuber right here made an excellent docuseries about this lost character named Self. I haven't heard anything from an update with Self since like 3 years ago, because that was the last Self video ever made. Besides, like, these two graphics right here. And I think part of the reason is that data mining for the Sega Saturn is still, even now, 3 years later, still very slow. Like, I don't know if it's because this may not be the best website to trust, but like if I go to the Spriters resource, because I wanted to make little NiGHTopian animated emojis. And the only sprite set that they have is for Sleep. Oh yeah, there are enemies in this game, but like they barely pose a threat. Speaking of NiGHTopians, fun fact: the code for these was lifted from Nights into Dreams and then ported over to Sonic Adventure to serve as a baseline for the Chow and Sonic Adventure, which I think is pretty neat. So if it wasn't for Nights into Dreams, you wouldn't have the Chow Gardens that like everybody's been begging for. Another thing about NiGHTopians, their behavior influences the music. Now, you can kill NiGHTopians by paralooping them, and how you interact with NiGHTopians changes the music, which, that's very interesting. It's so interesting. This game does so many interesting things. I love it so much. There's no legitimate way to play Nights into Dreams anymore. There were HD remasters. There was a PlayStation 2 remaster that really a remake because it was rebuilt from the ground up because you can't really use Sega Saturn code on a PlayStation 2 for a multitude of reasons that are above my knowledge. I just know it's not really all that possible. So they had to rebuild NiGHTS from the ground up for the PlayStation 2, and then that served as a basis for the Xbox 360, PS3, and Steam releases of NiGHTS Into Dreams, which have since been delisted. They were delisted back in 2024, and that is my biggest regret, is not giving this game a chance sooner, because I think having a 16:9 aspect ratio as opposed to 4:3 would have really helped me to learn the game very early on. I mean, I still manage perfectly fine now, but I would have loved a widescreen option. It sucks that there really is no official way to play this game, because as the whole point why I'm making this video is that this game is very, very unique. I've yet to play a game like this ever since. And I know Balan Wonderworld exists and was created by Naoto Oshima and Yuji Naka, who also created NiGHTS and Sonic, but I haven't heard the best things about Balan. I really haven't given it a chance to play it myself because I haven't even seen the game on store shelves. Physical media, invest in physical media. Anyway, yeah, I really don't think any other game has really recaptured this surreal, nostalgic uniqueness that is NiGHTS Into Dreams. And there is a sequel game, Journey of Dreams, but it just doesn't hit the same for me. I don't know why. It doesn't click with me as much as NiGHTS Into Dreams. I think maybe it's just the fact that every little detail is explained. Like there's a cutscene specifically talking about like Nightopians, and I don't know. It's just not for me. But, big but, there is light at the end of the tunnel. Maybe. Good Old Games. You can submit entries into Good Old Games to be preserved, and people can buy games off of GOG and actually own them. As far as I understand it, that's how GOG works. And I'll have both games linked in the description. There are petitions to add NiGHTS Into Dreams and NiGHTS Journey of Dreams onto Good Old Games to preserve them, so that way a modern audience can enjoy both NiGHTS games if they so choose. Please sign the petition. I would love a new port or something of NiGHTS Into Dreams. I really love this game. It's so good. It's so good. Play NiGHTS Into Dreams if you know how to use emulators. That's all I really have to say. Get out of my shack.